All right, now we're back to the Dvar Malchut of the royal words of the Rebbe. These are speeches which were given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe to his followers on Shabbos, and of course they were memorized and they were remembered by his Hasidim, most notably Rabbi Yoel Khan of blessed memory. He had a fantastic memory, and he would sit together with other Hasidim that also had memories not, you know, not much less than his, and they would go over these and write it down. Okay, so the ones that came out in the last years before the Rebbe had his stroke are speaking very expressly about Mashiach and what Mashiach is going to bring and what Mashiach is going to do and how we can learn about Mashiach and inspire about Mashiach, and we can inform ourselves about Mashiach and become interested in Mashiach and obsessed with Mashiach and disappointed every day Mashiach does not come, every moment that Mashiach does not come, and start to expect a world where Mashiach will be here, and to be, how do you say, surprised that it's not that way, that the world is, because Mashiach is going to bring a healthy world, a healthy world. And if a person knows what health is, so then he's very disappointed not to be healthy. A person, let's say that he was born blind, or he was born deaf. So that's the way things are, things are. But as soon as he starts to realize that, no, you can, these eyes I have, these two things I have in my eyes that have these lids that cover over them, they blink and stuff like that, that they're actually senses and they can be used in these two holes I have in the sides of my head, that they're senses and you can hear things. And that once a person sort of realizes this, then he feels very disappointed and, how do you say, incomplete unless these things are working. Huh? Unless he compensates for them, compensates for them somewhat. I remember I heard once an interview with Ray Charles. Ray Charles is a famous singer, very famous, and he was blind. He was blind from youth. He was blind from 10 years old or something like that. Anyway, so they asked him if he would like to have his sight back. So he said yes, he would like to have his sight back, even though that now he's really gotten used to the world the way it is. But he would like to have his sight back, let's say for an hour, so that he could see, people. Well, I'm sure that if he got his sight back for 1 hour, he wouldn't want to lose it. Again, he just got used to, living without sight. But still, he would want to have sight. The same thing is with Mashiach. If we could see what the Rebbe is talking about over here, a really good world, a positive world, a meaningful, happy world where everyone's uniqueness is revealed and shared. If we could see it for one moment, we would not want to go back to. But on the other hand, if we don't know that there is a possibility of such a world, so we're not longing for it. What do we care? If we think, blindness, that's the way it is. It's just, people just don't see. What are these two things in my head? I don't know. I don't know. God does all sorts of things. Like an appendix, he created the lobes of ears. What are your lobes of ears? I don't know. Put an earring there or something. But as soon as a person realizes that the eyes are not like your appendix or like the lobes of your ears or something like that, or eyebrows, what do you got? You need them, you don't need them. Every day. As soon as you realize what Mashiach is, that how it's like eyes, like ears, then a person wants that. That's what the Rebbe is trying to do. So the Rebbe is saying Mashiach can only be revealed in the world through the Jews. That's what the Jews are chosen for. The Jews are chosen to make a perfect world. And this can only be accomplished by Mashiach. Mashiach is going to be a person like Moses took the Jews out of Egypt. Well, Mashiach will take the Egypt out of the whole world. He'll take all the limitations to uncover everybody's eyes and ears to see there's a creator and there's a reason for the creation and how much God loves us. how unique everybody is. And so the Rebbe said that's the whole, can be found in the first word of the Torah. The first word of the Torah is Bereshit. And the first word, the simple meaning is Bereshit, that God created the world. Rashi comes along and he brings that meaning second. First of all, he says the Bereshit is talking about the Torah and the Jews. Beit, Reshit, two beginnings. The Jews are called the beginning and the Torah is called the beginning. The Jews were before the world. But nevertheless, the Jews are contained in this word Bereshit, which is talking about the creation of the world. So the Jews are an integral and an essential part of the physical world. So there's two aspects of the Jews. One, how the Jews in the Torah are above the world. And the other is how the Jews in the Torah are in the world in order to fix the world up. And like we just learned in Torah Or, that they're an essential part of the world, that only through them can be really revealed the true essence and holiness of what the world is. So according to this, we just explained over here, that was last Shabbat, was Shabbat Breshit, that we can say that these two qualities we had about the Jewish people, namely one is Kafi Shehem, as they are, Kafi Shehem, like they are found, their souls above the world, the Jewish people, and also how they are in the world, namely that we are the chosen people. God chose us in the world. He chose us to make this world a holy place. Why did he choose us? For no reason. It's above reason. So no matter what we do, God can never unchoose us. But on the other hand, we see that God chose the Jews to be in the world. He didn't just choose the Jews to be up in heaven and we're the special godly people and we sit around God's throne and everybody else is running around here like rats or something like that. And what do we care? No. Everybody's running around like rats and the Jews are also running around like rats. But God chose us, nevertheless, to make the world not rats anymore, to make the world human, and even more to make the world like angels, and even more to make the world godly. That's God's choice. From God's essence can be revealed in this world. Mitbatot, this is expressed especially in the times of the year. The difference we can also see, not just the difference between the Jewish people and the rest of the world, that the Jewish people are above the world, but on the other hand, the Jewish people are in the world to elevate the world. Same is also in time. There's the month of Tishrei. The month of Tishrei is above the world, and the rest of the world is in the world. In the month of Tishrei is Meruba Memorials. There's a lot of holidays. Nimsa Begiloi is found, revealed, how the Jewish people are above the world. We have the holiday of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Sukkot, and especially in Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah, when there's a situation of Yulecha Levadcha. God said, I will be with you alone, and nobody's going to be with you. Ana umalka b'chudai. Me and the king are alone. The Jewish people. That's the holiday of Shmini Atzeret, the end of Sukkot. Ra'im, we can see how the Jewish people are rejoicing with the Torah. They're above everything. And the rest of the year, the rest is betoch ha'olam. The month of Tishrei is that we're with God. The other 11 months of the year, this is talking about being in the world, physical things in the world. B'Shabbat Bereshit, in Shabbat Bereshit, that's the end of the month of Tishrei, and that's the beginning of the months of the year. Shabbat Bereshit, that's the last Shabbat in Tishrei. So the month of Tishrei, that's the month which is removed from the world. And the month of Cheshvan, which is the next month, that's the month which is in the world. But the connector between the two of them, that's Parshat Bereshit. That's last Shabbat, when we read Bereshit. So in Bereshit, it contains these two things, like any connector, right? Like a translator. A translator translates between Russian and America and English, so he has to understand both languages. Same thing as Shabbat Bereshit. It's a translator translates from the holiness of the month of Tishrei into the mundaneness of the rest of the year. It has to have both of these things. Hamayla shel Torah, it has the thing of Torah and the Jewish people, how they are above the world. Reshit, they're above the world. And also, Shabbat Bereshit contains in it how they are Reshit Shel Olam, how they are the beginning of the world. And therefore, Makablim Az, therefore on Shabbat Bereshit, last Shabbat, then that's the Shabbat when we received the power, the ability, Asher Od Teram Yetzim, even before we go from the month of Tishrei into the physical world. Kol Echad B'Shlichuto, every person has his own individual mission in the world, B'Chai Yom Yom, day to day. Therefore, before we go in to do our day-to-day activities and try to bring godliness into the world and be a good example in the world, we Korim, Torah, Parshas Bereshit Bor Elokim, we read the Bereshit, that God created the heavens and the earth, that in the Torah is found the creation of the heavens and the earth. Shakavana, the purpose is, but Bereshit, the whole reason God created the world is for the sake of the Torah, which is called Reshit. It's called the first wisdom of God. Of the Jewish people, they're called God's first produce. Shazen noten, at the koach, this gives us the power. Hanhaga, the Shabbos Bereshit, that we can pull down the holiness of the month and all the holidays and all the commandments and all the blessings that we made from Rosh Hashanah. We saw the shofar and Yom Kippur, the fast day. It used to be the priest went into the Holy of Holies. And Sukkot, we did the commandments of Sukkot. We sat in a Sukkah, we did all these commandments and blessings. The Bereshit is the connector that draws us down into the whole rest of the year. Shagam b'toch avoda, ovdim b'chol, that even in the most mundane things we do in the course of the year, we mow our lawn, or we change a tire, or we sell somebody in our store a pencil or something like that. And the most mundane things that we do in the world, tire, shoes, the Turgash, we can feel the highness of the Jewish people, that they are the chosen people, and that God cares. God chose in this world. That's the idea of the Jewish people. Because we are the testimony, the proof, the how do you say, the witnesses, you want to call it. We are proof that God cares, that God cares about the world. God put the Jews in the world, and the purpose of the Jews in the world is to care and to elevate the whole world. The Jews are God's sons. Alpianal, that's, by the way, what's hinted at by the suffering son is the Jewish people. The Jewish people are suffering in the world, but their point is to connect the whole world to what's above the world, to the creator of the world. According to this, that word, that the highness of the Jewish people as a chosen people comes only when they're revealed. It can be only revealed only as they are found in this physical world. So if so, it's a big difference, not just a philosophical difference, but an actual difference. What's the actual difference? This is the main point of an ofen bo tzorich Yehudi, that a Jew should, the attitude that a Jew should have in his day-to-day life in serving God, and especially now in the time of the exile. Jewish people are in the exile. There's no holy temple. Jewish people are all scattered around the whole world, right? And we see now, especially we see in Israel itself, right? We see now in Israel itself. Now is the time that we can finally break free from the non-Jews. Now we can break free. We see now everybody's centered on Israel. If you look, I mean, at certain times of the day when I can't learn Torah, I'm in certain rooms where you're not allowed to learn Torah. So I look at the news. So you see that the whole world now is, all of a sudden they're coming around to the realization that the Hamas, they're the good guys. They're the good guys. They're murdering babies and everything. That's okay. That's good. And the Jews protecting themselves, they're the bad guys. They're bad. What do you want? We've kept these, the poor Arabs are just in a pressure cooker, and the Jews are bad. So everybody's coming down now on the Jews. You can't defend yourself. There was a song, you can look it up on, this is called The Neighborhood Bully. You ever heard The Neighborhood Bully? It was written by Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is a very talented poet and songwriter. And he wrote a song about exactly this. The Jewish people, they're the neighborhood bully, right? They're outnumbered, it says 1,000 to 1, and the whole world is against them. But they're the neighborhood bully. But in the end, you'll see that they'll be sitting alone, and that the time goes around them, and etc. Neighborhood bully. Anyway, it's worthwhile to look it up. But that's what's happening now. And now, finally, hopefully, we'll realize that we have to stop listening to what the non-Jews say. We have to get out of exile. We have to get out of this exile mindset, which is the basic foundation of Zionism and the world, of Israel today, and realize we're Jews. We're holy. We're holy no matter what. No matter what we do, no matter what sins the Jews do, they're holy and they're chosen by God to show the world that God chose the world also. That God loves the world unconditionally. That's our job. But we have to free ourselves first. Free ourselves. So now America's trying to tell us what to do, and they send this big warships, and Russia's trying to tell us what to do. And of course, France has to stick their nose in it. And then there's the United Nations tells us what to do. And everyone's telling us what to do, what we have to do. And even those countries that don't want to tell us what to do, they feel out of place. Come on, everybody's telling the Jews what to do. What are you? You're some sort of a loser. You got to tell the Jews what to do, right? That's just par for the course. So everybody's telling the Jews what to do. I think the only nations not telling the Jews what to do are all these African nations. That's what it seems. They got their own problems. They're trying to get free from the United Nations. They're freeing themselves. They're actually freeing themselves from the United Nations. I mean, listen, God should help them and protect them. The terrible atrocities that France did in these places in England, they just bled these places dry. And all of a sudden they're coming to realize, right, that you have to ignore the world. They'll get power to do so if we Jewish people, we do so. We have to defy the whole world, and it'll be scary and it'll be difficult, but we'll see that it's going to come out. Okay, that's Moshiach. And I guess maybe Moshiach is going to have to come back and lead this whole business, because without the Rebbe, we're in bad shape. I mean, the only solution to the world's problems is the Rebbe. It's not the Torah and the commandments. The religious parties, they're the ones that got us into this whole business. The Shas party, they're the ones that okayed this whole thing about, putting it in Gaza. They're the ones that okayed it. The religious party, the religious Sephardi party. I mean, if anybody knows what the Arabs are, it should have been them. They're the Sephardic Jews. They came from these Arab countries, and all of a sudden, what can we say? Right, and the other parties, the religious parties, they just, want to build for themselves, and you can't blame them. Why not? They're learning Torah, they're doing good things. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe is the only one that's talking about all the Jews and for the benefit of all the Jews and how holy all the Jews are and how all the Jews are going to come to their senses and all the Jews are going to return to reveal the fact that they're the chosen people. Okay, anyway, that's this ideally the job of the Jews, and hopefully it's happening now. Hopefully we're going to see it now. That somehow or other there's going to be a strong, the Lubavitcher Rebbe told Bibi Netanyahu expressly what to do, and he's a very intelligent person. He understood what the Rebbe wants, but his heart, what can you do? You can't stand against the whole world. The Rebbe said you're going to have to stand against the whole world. You're going to have to stand against all the other Knesset members. The Rebbe said you're going to have to stand against all the other Knesset members. The whole world is going to be against you. You have to remember, you want to be the leader of the Jewish people. The Jewish people are not like everybody else, right? The world is against us for no reason. And as soon as we do good, and we want the whole world to be for us, we'll be the teachers of the world. That's what it was with the 6-Day War. With the 6-Day War, we want the whole world that respected us. All the Arabs respected us, right? They're intelligent people, the Arabs. They're intelligent people, as long as the Jews don't act like Jews. So they say, okay, we'll be the Jews. We'll be the chosen people. But as soon as the Jews won the 6 Day War, they realized, whoa, okay, all right, now we give respect to the Jews, give respect to the Torah. And the Israeli government said, no, 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 it was an accident. We didn't mean it. We're giving everything back. We're not special people. We're not chosen. Don't think that. We never said it. I never meant it. I didn't do it. It was a big mistake. I did fired in the wrong direction. It just happened to be the Arabs were in that direction. I do it. McCabe, and since, what are you going to do? That's what the Rebbe is going to change the whole thing around. They'll turn the whole thing around. McCabe, and since Call thought that the whole world was created only for the sake of the Jews to fix it up. This is revealed in this physical world, and the fact that Bano B'charta, that God chose us, namely, what did He choose? He chose the physical body of the Jew, which is similar b'chumioso in its materiality to the bodies of all of the non-Jews. And you can't tell the difference between a Jew and a non-Jew from the outside. How he moving, so it's understood. Shabakal mamad umatzav, no matter where they are. Bakal zman umakom, even in the most physical and mundane situation there can possibly be, even in the time of exile. Nimseim, we found the Jewish people are found in Reshit, above all the things of the world. Adarabah. Bishvilam, for the sake of them, the world was created. Biosam la'am nivchar, because they are the chosen people. The Jewish people were chosen to fix up the world. And nothing can stop that fact. They can cover it over, but it's that's the fact. God created them, and this is chosen. This choice that God made can never be changed. If this was expressed, if this was brought out, all of the good qualities of the Jews, and especially of that they are the first, they are the beginning, they were the reason the world was created. If it was only just brought out spiritually or in the soul regarding the non-Jews, then you could say that this is only a condition that the soul, when the soul is revealed. Not when the souls are concealed. There's a lot of religious Jews that they think that non-religious Jews are not really Jews. They're not really Jews. This is, in a way, par for the religious Jew course. A non-religious Jew, a Jew doesn't keep Shabbos, doesn't act like a Jew, doesn't look like a Jew, doesn't this, is that he's not really Jewish. And therefore, there's a lot of religious groups that make a big effort to dress differently and look differently. And in a way, that's a very good thing, because it says the Jewish people, when they were in Egypt, they didn't change their garments, they didn't change their clothes, they didn't change, and they look different from everybody else. So keep this different look from everybody else reminds religious Jews that they're religious. And in a way, this is a good thing. But the thought that a person that doesn't dress in this unusual way and doesn't look different from everybody else is not, in fact, different from everybody else is a big mistake. Because the fact is, the Jewish people, no matter what they do, no matter how they look, a Jewish person that God forbid, changes his religion, he becomes the Pope. And he puts on a big hat and puts on all sorts of X's all over himself and has a scepter or whatever he does. And he looks totally not Jew. There's totally not a Jewish look, right? No, he's just as Jewish as Moses is. Just as Jewish as the Lubavitcher Rebbe is. Judaism is something that God chose the Jews, and he can't choose them. He won't do it. God chose them above understanding. And that's an indelible identity of a Jewish person, no matter how much he tries to, and even if he asks this Pope, he'll say, yeah, I used to be a Jew. I wasn't. Say I was never a Jew. Deny the whole thing, right? A Jewish Pope. But by the way, a Jewish Pope, he's not Jewish. He is Jewish. He's more Jewish than he is a Pope. That's the fact. That he's a Pope is just his outer garments. It's a big lie. The whole thing is a big bluff, and it's a big fake out, and it's a fake identity. Like people believe that they're a dog, or people that they think that there's whatever's Napoleon used to be. Mental institutions, people went around, they believed that they were Napoleon. A Jew can never erase the fact that he's a Jew. Why? Because this Judaism is God, is the creator of the universe, and the same thing as the universe. The universe will never be uncreated. God is always creating it, and God made it just like the Jews, and the Jews are the proof of that. How important the world is. Mizem, moving from this, it's understood. Shafilu kasher, even when the Jewish people are found in exile, tachat shibud malchut, and they are under the rulership of the non-Jewish world. Because of our sins, we have been exiled from our land. Hine hagam, even though. Hine hagam, even though. We're going to have to stop here. Hine hagam. Let me go to over here. Hine hagam, even though. She'ein roim, that we do not see, revealed. How it is that the soul is Reshit, is in the first, is in the high level. Hariyagufa Gashmi, the physical body of the Jewish people, is always the physical body of the Jewish people, even if he doesn't look like it. God forbid he covered himself with tattoos, who knows what. Nevertheless, the physical body of a Jew is holy. By the way, Jews are not supposed to make tattoos. I don't know if you know this. It's forbidden. A non-Jew can make whatever tattoos he wants. I don't know why in the world people do these things, but you can do it. But a Jew is not allowed to make a tattoo. It's forbidden. The Jews, no matter what they do, are always called Reshit B'Galal, because God chose them in their physical body. Therefore, it's understood. Shalozu Bilavad, not only that the Jewish people are found under, I'm sorry, not only that the Jewish people can never really be under the control of the non-Jews. They can never, because the Jewishness is always free. Lo rak mitzad nishmateim, not only because of their souls, but even because of their bodies. Ela adraba, gam b'zman, even in the time of exile, the Jewish people, not that they are not under the rulership of the non-Jews, that we're free. Even more, anach, we are reshit. We're the heads of all the creation. The fact is, the whole entire world is under our control. We don't want to exercise that power, but that's the fact. Well, bishvilam nivru, all the non-Jews were created, and all the world was created for the sake of the Jews. What does it mean for the sake of the Jews? For the sake of the Jews, to teach them to reveal their humanness. Until shegadlus umas olam, that the greatness of the Jewish people depend on the greatness of the non-Jews depend on the Jews, like it says, B'kol dor, B'kol zaman, umash Yisrael, wherever the Jewish people are under their control, that country mitnasit kol goyim, all the other nations. And that's why when the Jews were in Spain, so Spain was the highest country in the world. It was the greatest. They had the Armada and this. As soon as they kicked out the Jews, so what Spain has, what do they have? A couple of castanets over there or something. What do they have? I don't know. I think they have good olives or something. It used to be that the Greeks, right? The Greeks controlled the whole world. The Jews were under the control of the Greeks. As soon as the Greeks were defeated under the control of the Jews, they stopped controlling the Jews. The Romans, right? Every country that the Jews were in, that country succeeded. As soon as the Jews were evicted from that country, then the country went into the depths. Poland is a good example. Almost every country in the world, the Jews, and now the Jews are in America. The Jews are in America. America became successful because of that fact. In a way, maybe we can say the same thing about Russia, but I don't know. Putin is very, how do you say, advertises the fact. There's a word, demonstrative, and there's a word for it. Anyway, not anti-Semite. He is very, very, outspokenly not anti-Semitic. He has nothing against the Jews, and he said very positive things about the Jews in general, Jewish people. And he's allowed Judaism to flourish in Russia, and he's allowed Chabad to wake up all the Jews. And we see Russia now has become a very major power in the world. After World War II, they were decimated. I don't know if that's true what I'm saying, but anyway, we see that it says in the Gemara that any country which rules over the Jews, as that country is made great, wherever the Jews are. So we see the presence of the Jews has an effect on the world. Okay, as we're going to have to stop here, and we're going to continue tomorrow. We're going to have to continue tomorrow. You know what? Let's just do one more paragraph, please. One more paragraph. Even though that in exile we're found, the Jewish people are found, the Shibud Malchus were found under the influence of the other nations. Yeshno atzibur, but there's the commandment, and there's a commandment, Dina de Malchuta Dina, that we have to go according to the laws of the country. V'lo yimradu ba'umot, and we should not rebel against the country where we're in. Al tidgaru b'goyim, and we should not, how do you say, anger the non-Jews. Similarly, Hariatam, the reason for this is not because the Jewish people have fear or trepidation in front of the non-Jews in exile. God forbid. Exactly the opposite. The Jewish people, they are the beginning. The Jewish people, they're the highest. That for them, the non-Jews were even created. So why do we have to go according to their laws? Who al derech, like it says the commandment, al tetzar al Moav. God gave a commandment not to make war with Moab. It says because Moab eventually would come root and the al tidgar bo milchama, don't make a war. It's a special commandment that we're not supposed to make a war with a country that was called Moab. It doesn't exist anymore. Al derech is similar with Ammon and Moab. Ammon and Moab, by the way, that's one of the three countries. Ammon, Moab, and Edom are the three countries that Moshiach is going to give us. God promised Abraham 10 nations, and to date, we've only conquered 7 of them, and Moshiach is going to conquer the other 3, and the other 3 are going to be Ammon, Moab, and Edom. But nevertheless, God commanded not to make trouble for these nations. Why? This is not just a good advice because the Jewish people are found and we're afraid of them and we need them. No, because God just gave a reason. Because God said, don't make war with them because the time has not come for you to inherit their lands. The children of Lot, I gave their land. God just decided that that's the way it's going to be. So the reason we have to give honor and we have to respect the non-Jews, and if we're in a non-Jewish country, we have to go according to their laws. If you're in England, you drive on the left side of the street. You're in America, you drive on the right side of the street, right? And you can't say, listen, I'm a Jew, I do whatever I want to. You have to obey the laws of the country because God said so. Just like it's God's will that God gave us the land of Israel, is also God's will that he wants to give other nations these other countries. So we shouldn't make trouble. We have to. But it doesn't mean, the Rebbe is going to say in the next paragraph, and this is where I want to stop. It doesn't mean that we should relinquish or in any way compromise on any law of the Torah, even a custom of the Torah before the non-Jews. We have to obey the Torah. That way we have to do the laws of the non-Jews is only if it doesn't contradict what it says in the Torah. But if it does contradict in the Torah, then we have to not do what they say. Of course, there's all details with laws of divorce, laws of inheritance, etc., which we'll talk about, God willing, tomorrow. Now let's do the Yom Yom. I started the class late and we're finishing late every day.